choose to stay with us this entire principle, you're going to learn a couple of things. First, why you have made so much effort into a thing or passion or problem before and not made money. Who here has lost time and money into something that never made a return? Lost all sorts of time, energy, started companies, businesses, just fell flat. We're going to teach you how that happened, why that happened, and most importantly, how to avoid it. And the other thing you're going to get out of this is a process in principle to get paid before you ever go and create or spend any time on a product. Show of hands if you would love to time travel into the future and know if something's going to work or not. Excellent. So wealth principle 34 is sell your product before you build or create it. This wealth principle comes from every company that has ever made it successfully, every single major corporation on the planet, every single industry, whether in the health, wealth, or fitness space. In fact, I'm going to take a challenge later on throughout this challenge, throughout this day, and we're going to actually witness your job, what you do for a career. We're going to put that through a funnel. At the very end of this, we're going to say, this is how you could sell it before you build or create a show of hands. You want to participate in that little challenge? Excellent. And I'm looking for one of you to stump me. I want one of you to be able to come up with a career that you have that would be beneficial to you to know the answer of how you could sell it before you build or create it. And we're going to walk you through the process of how that's done. Show of hands if you're certain you can't be done in yours, if you're a little aware. Excellent. Okay, so we accept the challenge. Very cool. So the other thing that we talk about is doubling our income. Who here is still committed to doubling your income this year? Doubling your income, doubling your net worth? Excellent. Who here is still committed to building 100 millionaires? We're going to show you how to do it so you can help others. Awesome. That's what the 52 weeks to wealth is all about. So we come in every single week, we add value to each other, we increase our business knowledge, and then we go out and we take action. We will take action steps today because that is how business is built. It's not just think and grow rich. It's think, feel, and then take action, evaluate the results, and something comes out of the results. Show of hands if you agree. It is not just thinking alone. We have to take some sort of inspired action. One of the challenges that entrepreneurs face is they get great ideas. They get these great inspired visions. In the E-Myth, Michael Gerber calls it a entrepreneurial seizure. They realize, oh my God, there's money to be made here. I can do this better than my boss, better than this competitor. Nobody else in this space is doing this. Show of hands if you have had the entrepreneurial seizure before. You've realized there's money in this. This is a gold mine. There's an opportunity here. Unfortunately, most businesses will spend a year or two diving into research and getting the information around something before they ever actually take initiative, before they ever actually go out and put the product in the market to see if it even works. In fact, I am not immune to this. In 2018, I realized I could be a coach. I had been coaching for free. I'd been teaching for free. I was a realtor who owned a brokerage and I had 25 agents. And I used to coach them all the time. And I started realizing, because my coach at the time, who here's hired a coach, because coaches help you see things you don't see before. So I hired a coach, and this guy told me, you're already coaching. You should be charging people. You're already creating the content. You should be charging people. And so I thought that was a great idea because I like making money. Show of hands if you also like making more money. Are we all on the same page here? I think we are. So outside of this room, a lot of people don't like to make money. A lot of people just like to work hard. They like to work hard. They like to complain about money. They like to say, I don't have any money. I can't afford that. There's not enough time in a day because I'm spending so much time working. But in this room, we realize that money is made through leverage. Money is made through the leverage of an asset. Money is made through other people's work, other people's time, other people's ideas, other people's strategies, other people's this, that, and the other. Show of hands if you agree leverage is everything. Excellent. And if you don't recognize where the leverage point is, it could be you. You could be being leveraged by somebody else. If you have children, you know what I'm talking about. They're leveraging you to have a house over their head, a shelter, a lifestyle that maybe they wouldn't be able to afford without you. Food, who here has seen that happen? Show of hands if you've seen children leverage parents. That happens all across the world, doesn't it? It's very smart. So other people have the power. So here I was, 2018. I'm teaching agents. I create this company out of nowhere. Ron and I say we're going to call it Agent Alchemist, right? Because people were calling us the alchemists. And so we said, we're going to agent alchemize and we're going to go out, we're going to teach agents how to transform themselves, transform leads into gold, because lead and lead are spelled the same way. And the idea of alchemy was just so much fun to us at the time because we're all video gamers. And We thought we really could turn agents into investors. That was our mission. We were going to go out and turn agents into investors, and we were going to teach them how to turn their clients into millionaires. And we're going to just pound the world with this. And this message was going to work so well. And this is how we sold it. We said, we're going to teach you how to do social dynamics. And we set out to do calls. We started texting people, and we started doing these call events, and nobody showed up. Nobody showed up. And I think we sold our first package, which was $800 at the time. I think we sold it for $400 to 2 people. And Ron and I were like, this doesn't work. This isn't good. Now, what you don't know is we put about 8 months of work behind this business that didn't work. Show of hands if you recognize that sucks. It's totally annoying. It's a pain in the ass, especially after being so successful in real estate as agents and as investors. After being so successful and making so much money, we thought this next business would have to follow the success. But it doesn't, because there's a simple principle that we did learn later on. In that year, from that business, we discovered something very powerful. And the first time we did it, it was almost an accident. And here's how we discover that you can actually sell your product before you build or create it. I sat in a room just like this. It was darker. It was colder. It was a little like a dungeon. It was in a brick building that we owned, a 10-unit in Fall River. And Michael Shine was in the room, and there were some other alchemists there, our early OGs. And I just started asking, what are your problems? What are your challenges? What are you facing right now in the real estate space that you would like to not be facing in the real estate space? And the first one was, well, I need deals. I don't know how to evaluate properties. And it was, I don't know how to get the money. And the list kept going down all the way down to this really weird one, which was, can I hypnotize my wife to get on board? So I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I just wrote it all down, all these things. I said, what would this be valuable to you? How much money would you make if you knew all these things? And the numbers were crazy. $10,000, $100,000, $1 million. If I had this knowledge, I'd be super rich. So I said, well, what would it be worth to get that? And the average person was saying it'd be $1,000, $2,000. And this one guy, Okino, at the front, he was like, it'd be $10,000 because I paid $25,000 to get all that information. So if you can deliver that, it'd be a lot. And I had just written a list of things that I did not have created yet. And I'd gotten a price, a general price. And then I asked, well, okay, so it seems like the average was saying 2,000. And if I bring this 10,000 in, now it pumps the average up. But most people had said about $1,000. So I said, what if I sold it for $500? Would everybody in the room go? And most of the hands went up. And I said, what if I sold it for $97? And I did it over a weekend. And we just sat in here for 8 hours. And I went through every single one of these things, including hypnotize your spouse to get on board with real estate. And everybody said yes. And I said, well, if you pay right now that $97 to Ron right there, then I will create this for you next weekend. And we had 20 people. By the way, the room only had 22 people. We had 20 people sign up. And it was because the product was built for them. Now, the product didn't exist. I want to be very clear. I had never hypnotized a spouse to do a real estate deal. I want to do a real estate deal with somebody else. Show of hands if you understand. That is not my bag of tricks. But I was a certified hypnotist, so I could theoretically do research. I could theoretically go and find out how to do that. And then I also had never taught how to raise private capital before. It's something I had only ever personally done. I never taught this before, so I didn't have a class written around this. Show of hands we grasp. I had to create the product after I had sold the product. So now Ron and I had $2,000 sitting in our account. And then all we had was 7 days to create this product that we'd already sold. We'd already sold the idea. And we did it. We pulled it off. I remember, procrastinating until the very last moment, like literally the day before, sitting there with Ron, just being like, okay, at 12 o'clock, I'm going to teach this. At 1 o'clock, it's going to be this. At 2 o'clock, it's going to be this. We're going to do a Q&A here. And I just wrote down, because the one thing I was trained on was teaching, was training. The one thing I did have, the one skill I did have was creating a script of what would be taught in a day so that it could be infused into the mind. I took a course called Train the Trainer that taught us accelerated learning. Who here knows I use accelerated learning in these training sessions? So you remember everything. Excellent. Which is why I use story. So I tied it all into stories and I locked it all in together so that people would come through and at the end of the day, they'd get something. Now, the secret to this is in that training, I was asking questions and I had a little whiteboard. I kept asking questions and I kept writing things down. And as we went through, I sold the next program that I had built right there in that weekend with them together. Who here has been through this before, seen this done on stage, been sold products like this, built, created right there for you? Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. And one of the challenges, as soon as I teach this principle, person will tell me, well, it can't be done in my industry. And I'll tell you a story. I went to the gym this week, and the guys at the gym were like, bro, like, we need to talk. You know, my wife's going through a situation. She just lost her job. She's making tons of money. And I need to like talk to you and like figure out like what we can do financially. I said, sure, absolutely, whatever. We can do that. And then he said, and what is this I Build Millionaires thing? Like, what is that? I said, well, you know, I build millionaires. Well, I get it, but how? What do you do? I said, well, just go to ibuildmillionaires.com, register for the 52 weeks of wealth, and just jump in with us. So, but how much does it cost? I was like, bro, like, I Build Millionaires doesn't say I have to charge you to build millionaires. It's just, I'm just giving you information. We're going to go through the process. We're going to teach you. He said, all right, like I'll be there. He said, like, how does it work? I said, well, I teach wealth principles, 52. I teach one each week. Show of hands if you've got the wealth principles. You're locking them down. I'll pause this story for a second. Let me tell you how cool it is. Those of you who have been here all of this year. We are at wealth principle 38. I've got 2 more principles to combine. And then once I've combined the next 2 weeks, we will be dead set on track to land at wealth principle 52 at the 100 Millionaire Summit. I have combined over 14 wealth principles this year. So for everybody who's been on this particular year, it has not been a full 52 weeks. This is the first year I've really condensed and consolidated so that we could get to this principle together. So that at the summit, we'll be spending an entire 3.5 days working on your business for the entire year. Your 1% of the year will be spent on building the plan, the strategy, and the tools and the partnerships and the resources you'll need to go and double your income or build the $1 million business if you're ready at that point. Show of hands if you understand the power of intention. It was not easy to combine principles, to choose the ones to combine, but we are literally at that point. So next week I'll combine, the week after I'll combine, and that's it. We're running straight shot, straight to the summit, and it's a very powerful group of principles. So this guy asked, well, principle is it this week? I told him it's principle 38. Sell your product before you build or create it. And I explained what that meant. I said, you know, you buy a video game, right? Pre-sold video game. They never sold the video game before. That doesn't even, maybe not even exist. They just got a wrapper. You didn't even buy the wrapper. You just like bought a little pamphlet that says you're going to own that video game. Who here knows video games get pre-sold before they come out? Xboxes get pre-sold before they come out. And I said, I even did it with my book. I pre-sold my book before I launched it. And he said, oh, well, you can't do it in our business. I said, really? What business are you in? He said, well, I'm a coach. I teach people how to get fit. I sit there and I work out with them. I said, have you ever heard of Alex Hormozy? He said, yeah, man, of course. I'm in the coaching business. I said, have you read the book, $100 Million Offers? He said, yeah, I've read the book, $100 Million Offers. I said, well, what is your most expensive product? And he said, well, I sell a product that's $4,000. I was like, well, what is it? What is this $4,000 coaching program? He said, I sell 40 weeks of coaching. And I looked at him, I said, do you give 40 weeks worth of coaching in the second they purchase that product? Have you already delivered on the product? Have you already given them 40 weeks of coaching? You work for free for 40 weeks before you sell that? Or is that something you sell before? And before I even ask this question, let me ask you, how do you build that product for them? How do you sell it? Like, what are you selling? It's like, oh, it's completely custom to them. You don't say. You completely custom their workout plan that you're going to give them for 40 weeks without having given them an actual workout. You're selling the workout plan custom that you made for them, their own individual product, before you've built or created it and delivered upon it. And it hit him and he realized you can do this in absolutely any industry. So I want to challenge each one of you, drop down your industry, drop down your business. And at the end of this call, we're going to go through and we're going to hit every single one of these. Usually we do the Q&A sessions at the end, but in this particular scenario, I would like to go through your business so that it's super valuable. So you, the individual, get the product that you can build or sell before you create it. So you can stop doing the work before receiving the benefits. Show of hands if you're okay with that. Switching the game around a little bit. Excellent. So drop in the chat now. What is your career? What is it you do to increase your income? What is your license or what is your industry? What do you sell? What is your product? Drop it in the chat and we will play at the end of this. Now, every week we do talk about how to imply these principles, how to put these into work. And this week will be no different. We're going to do a little bit of steps here. The first step for identifying and selling your product before you build or create it is ideation and market research. So identify a problem or need in the market that your product can solve. Conduct a thorough research to validate the demand. By the way, yes, this list came from ChatGPT and was approved by me, but it did come from an artificial intelligence, which is, by the way, not smarter than you, just has more information. And if you've heard me talk about information, knowledge is power. It's simply a battery. It's a tool to be used. It's a source of energy. But without the vehicle, which is, in our case, business or real estate, without the vehicle, that knowledge is useless. Unapplied knowledge is just a battery, just sitting there on your driveway. Even with a vehicle, even with a powerful vehicle like a business or real estate or your LLC, or even you, it is completely useless without a direction, without the GPS, without a driver, because even the GPS is just knowledge, isn't it? Without the driver and the committed decision to go somewhere, all that knowledge and all that vehicle, that powerful, robust vehicle that is a business that could become millions or billions of dollars, is only as valuable as the driver who sits in it and decides to go in a certain direction. That's why we often talk about knowledge, network, and accountability. That's something that will hold you to go to the direction that you said you want to go. So ChatGPT is powerful, but it's useless without you. It's completely useless without you and your intention. If you sit down in front of this AI and you try to type, but you don't know what you're looking for, nothing will come out. Show of hands if you've seen that already. Got some really bad results from ChatGPT. Without direction, you end up with nothing. So step 2, develop a compelling value proposition. Clearly articulate the unique value of your product, what it offers, and how it addresses customer concerns. Step 3, craft a strategic sales pitch. Create a persuasive pitch that emphasizes the benefits of your product and communicates its value proposition. Sales pitch. I know none of us like selling, right? I don't even like selling until I find out the person that I'm talking to needs the product. Then I'm like, oh shit, let me tell you a story. Let me walk you through this. Only after I have a compelling reason to sell will I sell. I do not sell for no reason. I only sell if the person in front of me shows a pain point, shows me some sort of sign that they need something. Otherwise, my conversation is just to build friendships. I'm just there to like see if you and I got anything in common. But if I see a pain point, I will sell. Show of hands if you feel the same way. If you see somebody in pain, you're going to solve their problem. Hell yeah. All right, that makes you a good person. So step number 4, reach out to potential customers. Engage with your target audience through surveys, interviews, presentations to gauge their interest, like we do here. Reaching out to see if you got any problems. And what I'm asking you to do is go out to reach out to people and ask them if they got any problems. And as you identify problems, start solving their problems. Number 5, secure commitments. Present your product as a solution and secure pre-orders or commitments from interested customers. What does that mean for us real estate investors? It means I've got an offer that I submitted. I might be locking down this deal. Are you committed to putting in money with me? Are you going to commit 100,000? Are you going to commit $250,000? You're going to commit $500,000, $1 million to this deal? For some of you, go as low as 50,000. If you're doing syndications or you're just doing little partnerships, small deals, $50,000. Will you commit? Ron and I, our first deal ever, we borrowed $26,000. We were just like, hey, we're bringing $26,000, and that gets you some piece of this deal. Commitments. But before we closed, we got a commitment from that guy. And we didn't get the money until like literally right before the closing, but we had a commitment that he would be there and deliver. Step 6, fine-tune the product. Incorporate feedback from potential customers to refine and enhance your product based on their needs. I'm not saying build it. I'm saying refine the design, adjust, twist, shake it up. Sometimes when we raise capital, show of hands if you're a capital raiser, by the way. Doing deals, you could use some extra capital in your deals. All right, excellent. Show of hands if you sell a product or service, real estate agent, investor, financial planner, attorney, lender, mortgage broker, anything along those lines. Excellent, coach. Cool. What you sell is dependent upon your clients. You could be a financial planner and come in here and say, okay, I sell infinite banking. Not if the person that you're talking to needs something else that is in your wheelhouse. You may not just be the infinite banking person. You may have to shift and be the 1031 exchange guy or gal. And the last step to this, number 7, is deliver and exceed expectations. Fulfill your commitments to your pre-ordered customers, ensuring a positive experience that builds loyalty. When you finally deliver, be selling the next service. It may be the same thing. It may be coming back to the same product, but you're always, always selling. Even when you're fulfilling, you're still selling. the next stage in the game, this next stage in their development, the next stage in their progress. Imagine if the store who sold you the milk was like, don't come back, get milk somewhere else, or never get milk again. Figure that out. The idea is you want them to come back and you want to give them incentives. That's why they give you a coupon for the milk next time you come back in the store. Show of hands if you understand. Everybody does this. Everybody sells after they sell. Everybody sells after they deliver. It's part of the business, part of the game. And so, because this is done to create action, create results in yourself, those steps, I want you to apply them to your business. I want you to do it now. I want you to apply the ability for you to go out and do some market research with whatever you have today. You don't have to go create a whole new audience, just the audience you have in existence. It could be your kids around the circle, around the kitchen table, if that's where your product would be best served. It could be your neighbors. It could be the people in your cell phone. Show of hands if you have over 100 people in your cell phone. Excellent. One of them might buy your product. And if they aren't buying your product, they don't belong in your cell phone. Unless they're going to be there for helping you sell your product, or they're going to be there to babysit your kids. There's a lot of people in your cell phone who probably don't need to be there. Show of hands, that's true too. A lot of people who just aren't adding value to your life anymore. I don't know why we keep them. All right, so I want you to write down these 7 steps. I want you to go through them today, this week, and I want you to start pushing your product out into the marketplace, pushing it out into the marketplace so that you can get some results from it. Now, there's a thing, by the way, that I might offer that might make this easier. Is it okay? Do I have permission to tell you about a thing that might make this easier for you? A thing I could do with you, a process? Excellent. So there's something that we're working on called Millionaire Magnet. So to turn you into a magnet for millionaires. Now, before you say, I don't want to be a magnet to millionaires, let me pitch this to you. Millionaires have a lot of money. In fact, that's how they became millionaires. The title implies men or women of wealth. And so attracting, let's call it 100 millionaires to your life, pre-existing, I'm not saying you got to go build these guys or gals, like they're already pre-existing millionaires. And that's what we're going to talk about, is how to do that. If you could become a magnet for millionaires, is it possible that millionaires would buy more of the product you already sell? Would they pay a higher commission? Would they have more money to move? Would they do more transactions? And the answer for most of you is probably yes. And if your business doesn't allow you to make more money from a higher level quality client, then you might be in the wrong business. So you may want to make shifts, or you may just not be looking at your business properly. Because I've had fitness personal trainers say, well, that doesn't work for my business. Millionaires wouldn't do me any good. That may just because of the structure of the company you're working for. Because I know guys who charge $500 per training session, not $500 for the whole month or the whole year. Show of hands if you understand, millionaires pay more because they want a specific process. In fact, my mentor is the same thing. He's like, dude, I pay over $100 per session just to make sure that they built all this stuff from my back. Right? I want to make sure my back is okay. I think he pays $150 per session because it's specialized to him and he gets a little bit longer time. So here's where we're going with this. I'm going to ask Doug to create a little bit of a mindset exercise for us right now, just a little bit of a application. And while he's prepping that, I want to share with you the tool that we're going to give you this week, Wednesday. It is free for anybody who goes to the following link, and that link is workwithinvestors.com. And I'm going to show you how to become a magnet to millionaires. A magnet is not just a device. It is actually a condition, is a state of mind, and it has a system around it. So we're going to teach you how to build that system so that you become a magnet to millionaires and teach you where to apply and how to apply it. I'm going to show you how to build a list of existing millionaires in your market. Many of you already know how to do this. Cool. Show up anyway, because I'm going to show you how to turn that list into a magnet that attracts people to you. Show of hands if you'd be okay with learning how to magnetize millionaires to yourself. Excellent. So that'll be this Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That will be completely free to everybody who is in or outside of Alchemist Nation. If you got friends, you can bring them in. If they are not friends, please don't bring them in. If they're losers, keep them out. If they're mean people, if they don't like other people, they don't like working with people, then keep them out. But if you have somebody who is a friend of yours you'd like to see do well, somebody in your business who is a partner of yours, not a competitor, right? We don't want your competitors in here. Not that there's any sort of competition, just saying that if we could make your life easier, it probably wouldn't be by teaching your colleagues exactly how to take your business. Show of hands if we agree. We could do this very intelligently, strategically, bring in only people who might benefit your business by also working with these same millionaires. Then that would make sense. So example, mortgage lender, bring in an attorney. Mortgage lender, bring in a realtor. Realtor, bring in a property manager. They're never going to compete for the clients. They're only going to work with the same people saying, go use this person. That's my person. So Work with Investors is designed this week, Wednesday at 5 o'clock, to show you how to become a magnet to millionaires. Now, my capital raisers are already thinking, oh my goodness, you know what I could do with a whole bunch of millionaires? I could probably get them to invest in my deal. Yeah, you should probably learn this too, real estate investors. You should probably come and figure out how to work with investors, how to attract them. So the link is workwithinvestors.com. The lesson is become a magnet, and we're calling it Millionaire Magnet Masterclass. Let's give Andrew McMurray a round of applause. He's a master in naming things. So this is our gift to you. This is something that Alchemist Nation's been asking for quite a bit. So we will be presenting it. And we are bringing back the Recession Proof Challenge. So at this particular event, if you're looking to come to the summit and you don't like the idea of paying $700 for general tickets, I may tease out that I will give somebody an opportunity to get the Recession Proof Challenge and a ticket to the summit for $97. Show of hands if you like really affordable things, great deals. Yeah, me too. I like to give them away. It's kind of a fun thing for me. So, Doug, if you are prepared to give our community this powerful resource so that they can go forward and take action in the mindset of preparing themselves or selling their business before they build or create it, then the mic is all yours. And for those of you who are driving, Matt Bierce, please drive with your eyes open the whole time. And Natasha, please keep your eyes on the road. And you do not just lower the volume on this a little bit, because we want to make sure that you stay focused on what you're doing. You can come back and watch the recording later. Just know that whenever we do any kind of hypnosis or guided meditation, we want to be very, very cautious that we're in a safe place and that we're not operating any heavy machinery, vehicles count, and that we're capable of staying focused on what we're actually doing. And for everybody else, well, enjoy the ride. Let's give it up for Doug McGurk.
Thank you. And while Walter sets me up as a co-host, or so that I can share some audio, let's give him a hand. Very nice, very nice. And so how many did get a distinction from this where you said, aha, this was helpful. I got an idea here. I'm ready to start putting some stuff out there. Awesome, because that would help with this, because we're going to be getting into your other than conscious mind for a moment. So let's do so. Let's see here. Let's make sure. Are you hearing the music? All right. Lovely. So, as you take a nice, big, deep, cleansing breath in and relax. Now, as you find yourself sinking deeper into relaxation, let's journey together into a space where anything is possible. Picture yourself in a room filled with all the tools you need to create something spectacular. Feel the excitement as you visualize your products, your services, the results, even before they are made. And as you continue to breathe deeply and calmly, allow yourself to be drawn to the sound of my voice. Picture yourself at the top of a grand staircase. And with each step that you take down this staircase, you'll find yourself drifting deeper and deeper into a relaxation, into a state of readiness and openness. Take that first step now, feeling a gentle wave of relaxation wash over you. As you proceed to the next step, notice how your body becomes even more relaxed, more comfortable, more prepared for the transformation that lies ahead. That's right. Step by step, you descend, leaving behind any doubt, any fears, any distractions, as you're even more connected to your inner self. You're halfway down now, feeling completely at peace, completely in tune with this journey. And as you take the final steps now, feeling a profound sense of purpose and possibility, you've reached the bottom of the staircase. Where you can explore new ideas, new perspectives, and new ways of being. So you are now fully immersed in a transformative state, ready to embrace the vision of selling your products or services before they're even created. And you're ready to double your income and achieve the success you deserve. Imagine now presenting these ideas, these products, these services to your potential customers. And of course, you're not just selling a product. You're offering a promise, a dream, a solution to their needs. Now, see the smiles on their faces as they realize the value that you are bringing to their lives. And feel the confidence welling up within you as you recognize your own ability to bring this vision to life. You are not just a builder or a creator. You are an innovator, a visionary, an alchemist. And as you say these affirmations, either in your mind's ear, in your mind, or even out loud, connect even more to your higher power. I sell my ideas with confidence and integrity. My creativity leads me to financial abundance. I trust my ability to deliver on my promises. Doubling my income is not just a dream. It's my reality. I leverage my talents to generate wealth and success. And then, as you ask these affirmations, feel, see, and hear your mind, your soul aligning to answer them powerfully. Why am I so skilled at selling my ideas? How is my creativity become my greatest financial asset? What allows me to confidently promise and deliver excellence? How does doubling my income feel so natural and achievable? Why do my talents continually lead me to success and abundance? Feel these affirmations and afformations resonating within you, becoming part of your subconscious or other than conscious mind, and allow them to shape your thoughts, your actions, and your reality. Now, as you begin to come back to the present moment, remember that this vision is not just a figment of your imagination. It's a pathway, a roadmap to the success you desire and deserve. Carry these feelings of confidence, abundance, and gratitude with you as you open your eyes now, ready to make your dreams come true.
Thank you, Doug. As you're coming to, let's give Doug a big round of applause. If you haven't already checked out the guided hypnotic on Alchemist Nation, there are almost, I think, 13 tracks.
There's 13 there now. Yep.
13 tracks for getting yourself out of procrastination, submitting offers, building your wealth. If you find guided meditation hypnosis is effective to you, yes, congratulations. I did too. That's pretty common sense that you should use tools that work while you're sleeping, while you're not operating. In fact, the book of the week talks a little bit about that. So one more time, let's give Doug a round of applause. And if Mike Shine is here, I like to have him talk about this week's book of the week, if he's read it. And if there he is, I see him. Before we dive into it, Mike, have you read Story Branding?
I did. You told me about this book. Was not one of the ones I knew before I met Walter Amarello, but
So Michael Shine is the holistic attorney. He's our closer. He's also the keeper of the books. So Michael Shine, without further ado, what is this week's, actually, let's do a little more ado. Those of you who read one book per year, that would make you average. That's the outside world. They read one book per year, and they usually don't even finish that book. The top CEOs read 60 books a year. And so what I've challenged everyone in this community is to read the foundational 5, and also, in addition to that, read the 52 books that will make you successful, 52 millionaire books. And those we read one per week. That obviously gives you a 52-to-1 advantage over everybody who only reads one book. Show of hands if you like unfair advantages when they're in your favor. In that case, let's give Mike Shine, the keeper of books, a big round of applause. What is this week's book of the week?
All right, Walter. It's a little tricky to do that right after Doug's amazing meditation. I'm in a little fog here. I feel great though, manifesting like a boss. Anyway, so the book is Building a Story Brand. Clarify Your Message So Customers Will Listen by Don Miller. And our books are kind of, the 52 books are kind of broken up into some that are more like a manual for achieving success. Others are kind of stories, sort of motivation. This is definitely in the, follow the steps and you can get to where you want to be. And in this case, that is building a story brand. Sometimes, what is it, Walter? You say a confused mind says no.
That's right.
So, but this book tells you how to create a story, and so it's not just a brand, it's not just the Nike swoosh, it's a whole story. And I took the 3, I'm just going to read them because I have them up here. It says, make your customer the hero of your story and help them fulfill just one of their desires. So people can identify with your product or your service if they're the hero in that story. And next is identify people's problems and pain points as the villain to keep them interested. This was the first book I ever read that talked about pain points. I know there are a ton of them that say that, but this really talks about it, that you want to get to people's pain points and problems so that you can solve their problems. And the third is help customers see the transformation they will get after they purchase your product or service by giving them a vision. So that's pretty much the short version of what it's about. It's a real good manual for getting you to, if you've got, we've all got a message. I mean, I saw in the chat, everybody talking about what they do and what they're trying to achieve. This book is a great book to get you there. I highly recommend it. Again, it's more in the practical. I mean, there's stories in it, but it's more in the practical vein of step by step getting out of your own way. Because sometimes we over explain stuff and over confuse our potential buyer. And like I said, a confused mind says no. So that is Building a Story Brand by Don Miller. It's a great book. I recommend it. It's one of our 52 books, so obviously I recommend it. And there you go. That's what I got. Thank you.
Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. Mike closed a lot of deals for us these past couple of months, and Ron and I have made a lot of money. So we love our holistic attorney, our closer. It has been a crazy journey through Alchemist Nation, building our own stories. And for each of you, when you're thinking about selling, you're going to need a story that sells. Products are not sold by people just understanding what the product is. Product descriptions don't sell businesses. Product descriptions don't sell products or services. What sells a service or product is a compelling story, is a reason why the person wants it. If you've ever had a thing not sell, it's because your story sucked. It had nothing to do with the product. In most cases, usually it's the way you sold the product, how the person felt when they learned about the product. But when you can bring them through a story, a compelling story, something that makes sense to your brand, and get rid of all the clutter and the confusion, people start understanding what you do. If you'd like a simple story that you can build off of, the idea of Alchemist Nation itself is based on this one concept: 100 millionaires. Inspire yourself to surround yourself with 100 millionaires, build 100 millionaires, and you'll become one of 100 millionaires. The idea itself is simple. The story is compelling in your mind. You can already see it. You can see yourself surrounded in millionaires. You can see yourself helping people become millionaires, putting the hand back. You can see yourself becoming a millionaire yourself. That's why I build millionaires. The brand is very clear all the way across. It makes a lot of sense. When you get in here, you realize you are not just hanging with alchemists, people who help others, but you become somebody who helps others. Show of hands if you grasp how simple the story is. How easy to understand, how compelling it is, how much fun it is. The idea that you could become somebody who makes tons of money and not just makes it for yourself, but gets the ability to give it to others also, to give them the ability, the Midas touch, where now they learn how to make money for themselves and for the people around them. It's a powerful message. It's a very cool story. And the book Story Branding really helped us put that together. So let's give Mike Shine a round of applause for a great rendition on that book. Let's give Doug one more round of applause on helping us take some action. Now, Stephen Beaver usually covers this Q&A session. And Stephen Beaver, by the way, has been really working hard at building new locations for Alchemist Station across the country. We now have 300 locations across the country. Let's give Stephen one big round of applause. Him and the team have absolutely crushed it. Now, Ron has been behind the scenes doing a lot of this. Kevin Pereira has been behind the scenes doing a lot of this. Gary Aker has been behind the scenes doing a lot of this. And along with Mark Dozwa, Frank Montero, Andrew McMurray, Dorina, and many, many others. Jen Sullivan, a lot of you have been behind the scenes. Joe Galanato is here, and Liba is here. So a lot of them have been doing a lot of work. So let's give them just a big round of applause for all the work they do behind the scenes. You know, even though you and I get a lot of credit because our cameras are on, we're always seeing each other, but they do a lot of work. And this coming week, when you go to alchemiststation.com, you'll be able to see on the map all 300 locations, which is really cool because it does take people to become millionaires, to build millionaires, and surrounding yourself with millionaires helps you get to that next level. One of the challenges we're facing now is most of those events are just networking events without a host, without a leader, without somebody to help guide them through what it means to be an alchemist, what it means to help others and build millionaires. And so this week and next week, Stephen and Brian, oh, I forgot Brian Schilling. Stephen and Brian will be working on attracting and recruiting more hosts, more volunteers, people who will help us run these events. So if you have a friend or a person in real estate or a professional that you know who would be willing to volunteer for a month or two, just 1 hour a month, to host one of our events that is happening in their city, it would be huge for us. So as that map comes out next week, I will be putting out that request. And for each one of you who just says, yes, I've got a friend in that city or that state, it would mean the whole world to us to be able to have them come and meet a face that actually cares about them and believes in what we're doing. Show of hands if you understand how important people are when it comes to leveling yourself up. Just knowing that somebody cares about you, knowing somebody is there for you. You don't have to know everything. Just be a person who knows that we're here to build millionaires and we're going to connect with each other. And that is sometimes enough. Now, I did promise that we'd have some fun with this wealth principle. And I see a whole bunch of jobs in the chat, a whole bunch of really interesting jobs. And some of them, you may think you've stumped me. And some of them, one of them may have stumped me. And so I'm going to be going through this list and I'm going to give a quick story for each one. So if I call out the job title, just please put your camera on and unmute your mic and confirm that I have a grasp on what it is. Show of hands if you understand the rules. If I call the job title, confirm that you have a grasp of what it is. Excellent. Show of hands if that makes sense to you. All right. So before I do that, workwithinvestors.com. Register for it now before the links and before we get out of this call, before it shuts down. So just go register very quickly. Put your name, your email, whatever asked for. I think it's name, email, phone number. And I will not call you. I promise. I got too much on my plate, so you will not get a phone call from me. But if you put your name and email and phone number in there, we will text you to let you know when the event is happening as a reminder. Show of hands if that's a good idea. Helps. You're welcome. All right. So that is Work with Investors. You got a second to go and register for that. Thank you, Mark Gilbert, for dropping that link in the chat. Let's give Mark a big round of applause. It is workwithinvestors.com. And as Mark has identified, when you drop links into chat in Zoom, you must have the https:// I see Johnson's on here. We got Desiree. We got Richard, Sharon, Natalie, Lauren, Joe, Mitch, Deborah. Let's give everybody a big round of applause. I love it when I see your cameras on. All right. Here's the deal. Events architect. That's Darina. I already know that's Darina because she's got a creative name around what she does. So events architect. Darina, when you sell events, are you selling to the event host or are you selling like the idea of putting an event on for them, or are you selling to the attendees? I know with the summit you sell to the attendees, but just clarify that for us. Events architect, what do you make money doing?
Well, in this occasion, I specifically talk about the summit. And I remember our very first summit was sold before it was created. So we talked about it for 2 years before we knew location, time, dates, who's going to be speaking, what designs are we going to be producing. So it was sold like 2 years prior to its existence. Now, if we're talking about our local events, we are selling to the hosts and to coaches. And then attendees come later.
You got me thinking about your 3 events that nobody knows about right now.
Oh, yeah.
Guerrilla Business School, Master of Influence, and Mission to Millions. Those 3 events that nobody knows about. The only way to get those events, listen to this. This is pre-selling. Listen to this. Okay, this is cool. The only way to get access to those events is to be at the 100 Millionaire Summit. You cannot get access to them otherwise. The only way to purchase them is in a bundle. You can't buy them one-offs. And the only way to purchase them is before the events actually occur. So at the summit, we'll talk about those events. We'll show you what's inside of them. And we will not be traveling to those locations or doing those multiple different events until later on in the year, which gives Darina time to lock down the locations, gives her time to identify how many people are going to be in the room and how much she has to bring there. And it also gives me and the other speakers time to present and put those things together. Show of hands if you understand, she's pre-selling and she's using somebody else to pre-sell, which is monstrous labor. Let's give her a big round of applause. She's she's using me and other coaches to fulfill on those events, that's just next level of leverage. I love that. So private school, this, it must be Thurman James. So private school, well, you know the deal, Thurman. You and I have talked about this. You actually are selling the tuition to the students, to the parents of the students before the school is even built. Is that true? You're currently actively selling tuition to a school that does not exist.
Well, it does exist. However, well, let me explain. So basically, the way it's structured is I don't have to pay for the schooling component until the parent pays. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I don't pay. So basically, the parents pay for the education. I don't.
Right. So you're not building the education. It was built by somebody else. And
Mhm.
you are not paying for that education. You are selling it and then taking that money and paying it, and you keep an arbitrage.
Yeah, basically, I keep like the profits.
One of the reasons I love affiliate marketing. I don't have to go build a product. It's been built. I don't have to fulfill a product. It'll be fulfilled by somebody else. I simply have to connect a human being with the product. That's why we use a lot of coaches, realtors, financial planners, people who I know can deliver on a thing. Let's give Thurbin a big round of applause. Very good. You're already pre-selling, my man. Any form of sales where somebody else delivers is, in my book, a great business because it keeps you out of the delivery, because that's a job. Delivery is a job. Rooming houses. Well, absolutely. Same thing. Now, rooming houses, do you have in just throw your camera on if you know who this is? I think it's Shanita. Yep. Rooming houses. Do you have the building already?
Yes,
So you already have the building. So you already have the product,
I already have the product.
but you got an empty product. Product's missing some people.
Right now it's only missing one person.
Oh,
I
so you're
have
doing pretty good.
houses.
All
And
right, so
all
you're
of
doing
them.
pretty good.
Yeah,
And filling those rooms are pretty easy for you. You don't really have to worry about it.
it has been pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're in that kind of economy where rooming houses are bomb.com. Like they're a great business. A pain in the ass business, a lot of work, right, Shanita? It's a lot of work. But
As at the beginning, but once I get people settled, then it's been a breeze. I've
very
been
nice.
very blessed.
I like it. How many units?
Um, Total of 8.
Okay. All right. So she's running what we would refer to as a small rooming house. So it's not a ton of work. Some of my students have run 38 units. Ron and I had 48 units, and those are machines. They're monsters. And Ron and I sold ours before we even filled it. So that's we just said that we're not going to do this after seeing some of our other friends suffer on those businesses. But 8, I think, is reasonable for a person. Like you said, once you put systems in place and get it going. And so the next one, then you may be selling the idea of the next rooming house. Are you looking to buy another one?
I am. I just finished buying this one, so I'm getting this one set up. So now I'm looking towards the other one because this one came out so wonderful and just nice and beautiful and really people are so happy with it that I know that I can make the next one even better and better. So
There's a lot of cash flow in rooming houses, and for you, Shanita, your next sale is either to the owner of the building you're going to buy, or it's going to be to the investor who's going to be putting capital in with you to do the purchase. So your next sale would be, hey, I don't have the property yet, or I don't have the money for you yet, but I will bring the money to you, or I will bring the deal to you. I will bring this opportunity for you to invest in. You're pre-selling at all times as real estate investors. You never have the deal when you're raising capital. You never have the money when buying the deal. Show of hands if you know what I'm talking about. We never have it. We're always pre-selling the idea of it that we're about to go get it. Let's give
Yeah.
Shanita a big round of applause. We're kings and queens of pre-selling. Anybody who gets into real estate is like, oh, you can't do that in real estate. Are you shitting me? That's the only principle in real estate that is the solid. Nobody ever has the money. Nobody ever has the deal. We just get in saying we're gonna get it. We're gonna find it. Let's see. So was this fun? Are we having fun here doing this? All right. There's a couple others I got. I got ASL interpreters. So I would assume that you would need a person who needs interpreting in advance, Sharon. That's a pretty straightforward one.
Nope,
They come to you just on demand.
nope. What I'm talking about are a group of interpreters who, there's an organization, much like what we're doing here at Alchemist, and needing to, I guess, pre-sell to the interpreters to come and to build.
So what do you
Much like
sell?
you have the cup for
Yeah.
100 millionaires to build 100 millionaires. This is a bunch of interpreters who are quite autonomous to come together because there's more power in a group instead of being singular. So that's why I knew I'm probably the one that will stump you.
Oh, please no. Oh, yes, you were. You were the one because I didn't know the business model. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I didn't quite get it. But I believe, since I'm kind of good at selling the idea of a community, and you're right, I do have a cup that is the story that brings them in, is that if they've got a problem, then you could sell the solution to the problem, and the community ends up being almost an extra to what you're selling. You're not actually selling the community. But with Alchemist Nation, we weren't really selling the community. We were actually selling the result of the community, the result of what you're going to get when you're in a community like this: the deals, the money, the knowledge, just the camaraderie sometimes, or somebody to bounce ideas around with, or knowledge in different markets as you're jumping from market to market. As a real estate, this game shifts a little bit. We're looking in different markets outside of our normal area, which is why we needed the 300 boots on the ground, which, by the way, let's give everybody who's a community leader a round of applause. I love and appreciate the fact that you're in a market, not mine, because it allows me access into a space I previously wouldn't have had access. So Sharon, what you're selling is something else that they're having a problem with, and the community is how you fulfill it. It may be the additional step, because they're pretty much autonomous. They're operating without themselves. And there is probably a benefit to this, but what you're looking for is actually a whole product. So before you go out and sell community, you may want to go to them and say, hey, would it be helpful to have a mastermind? You may not sell it as a community. You may sell it instead as a mastermind, which is a place where you can get together with high-level people in your industry who are doing the thing you're doing and would like to support and work with each other, but are not in the same area, so they don't compete with each other. Because you got to remember, they're interpreters. They all kind of do the same thing, but obviously the reasons that they could work together is they don't all speak Japanese. They don't all speak, well, they all speak English, I assume. That's the universal language,
Yeah.
but they don't all speak Python or code or whatever they're translating.
Well, I'm actually trying to get them to get out of the competition mind frame, because a lot of us, not only this industry eats its young, to be honest. And so I'm trying to change that whole mindset that we can pull each other up. We don't need to compete. And
Exactly.
so somebody else said yes. And of course, that's a lot of the reading and stuff that we do here. But you did give me some information that I think would be beneficial. So I thank you.
And then I would just ask them what they're looking for. So follow the 7 steps that we laid out today. Ask them what they're looking for. And then once you've got it all kind of dialed in, ask them what they would pay for the ability to get those results taken care of. And then make the price lower than what they would be willing to pay. Make it an outlandish deal. Make it crazy. And then later on over time, as you build an audience, you can increase the price to what you're worth. But you just need an audience just to beta test the product. Just get it going. Pre-sell it, Sharon. Let's give her a big round of applause. I really thought that one was going to get me. Because I was not sure. RV storage facility, it's the same thing as any real estate investing deal. Once you have locked down the contract, once you know you're going to be buying it, you start selling those spots. You start selling and marketing those spots before you close. A lot of times we'll put into a contract subject to 80% occupancy. I will not close until the building is 80% occupancy. So I'll put it on the seller to actually get the occupancy up. Many people do the opposite. They're like, I want this building vacant. I think that's absolutely crazy. I want cash flow when I close, and I want the rents to be at X amount. So I'll put into the contract, I want rents here, and I want X amount to be filled. Otherwise, I am not acquiring this property. Or if I do acquire, I'm acquiring at X discount. Because sometimes there's a discount to be had, and I will purchase things at a discount if it means all I got to do is put in tenants. Liens, tax liens, and deeds, you're actually being pre-sold. You're being pre-sold in the first place. The fact that there can be cash on the other side of those deeds. This is Victor. Let's give Victor a round of applause. We're doing tax liens for a long time. And the idea of being able to get that house, that is all based on numbers that you already see. In fact, you don't own the house when you do a tax lien deed, Victor. You just have the potential to own if they foreclose. You've been pre-sold. Which is fascinating. But if you were to pre-sell somebody else, you could go and sell to an investor. You can get a package of deeds put together, a whole package for them, and that you're going to sell that package at X price, and you're going to deliver a package full of X amount of types of deeds. And an investor would buy that if it gave them the return they were looking for. Maybe they were just looking for a 6% return or an 8% return backed by real estate. And you could do that with deeds easily. So you just put a package together, sell them on the idea, and then you go take whatever it takes, the 3 months, 4 months, 6 months to fill that package together. Victor, does that make sense? Give Victor a big round of applause. Smart man. And serving some investors gets you the cash flow a little bit faster. It's one of the reasons we can do this, and we should do this. STR, short-term rentals, acquiring properties, rent and hold, and mortgage origination. Well, one, you're doing a lot of things, but really you're a mortgage originator who happens to invest in real estate, and you do STRs, which is still all the same concept. Before I close on an STR, I'm already marketing it on Airbnb. And when I say I actually don't invest in those, but a lot of my students invest in them. So we'll tell them, go and market it. Before you own it, I want you to fill up the calendar. And if you can't fill up the calendar 3-4 months in advance of closing on that property, don't close on that property, because it's not going to make you what you think it's going to make you. Show of hands if we understand. Be careful in the STR market. I don't buy anything based on STR rents. I buy them based on monthly cash flow if I had to go in at a long-term rental. And short-term rentals are Airbnb, it's VRBO. Like, I don't buy based on those numbers. I buy based on much lower numbers. And if I can short-term rental it out, cool. Gravy. Excellent. You should. I got plenty of friends who have 20, 30, 40 of these STRs that they don't even own the properties. They're just doing arbitrage. I love the model, as long as you have a way to get out of it, as long as you have a way to back out if it's no longer being filled. Let's see. One more. We got empowering real estate agents to invest in the thing they sell every day. That must be Lorraine. Yeah, I know. Lorraine, be careful. 2018 Agent Alchemist was that same model. It was sell agents on becoming real estate investors. I'll tell you what I discovered. They don't buy that ticket. They don't buy that program. What you should sell is to agents that are already investors how to be better real estate agents that are already investors. And if you can get your mind around the idea of working with investor-friendly agents only, you won't have to attract agents who don't understand investment. You'll only attract agents who want to be involved in investing, and then you can just sell them more of that particular training, because those agents are killers. In fact, Andrew McNamara this morning, he asked me, said, who's our best avatar? I said, well, who builds most millionaires? Agents who are already investors. Like, the agent investor is probably the most dangerous person on the market when it comes to building millionaires. They can teach anybody because they do it themselves, and they have a license to do it as well. So fans, if you understand, they got a license to kill. They got a license to kill deals out there, to slay. Like, they can go out there and they just lock it down themselves, or they can help their clients become millionaires and say, look, don't do that deal unless we negotiate this way. So I will personally say, don't worry about attracting agents, trying to convince them. Attract the agents who are already investors and show them how to build millionaires, show them how to invest more in what they're doing, show them the creative strategies that agents aren't really trained on. But if they're already an agent and an investor, then just show them how to close on more property so that they can get to that next level. But I wouldn't worry about teaching agents to invest. That's a really tough game. Me and Mike Shine and Mitch and Mike, we did that for years, and it's a slow growing model. And the only people who ever stuck were the people who are already investors. Which reminds me, we're going to jump. Was this fun? We had a lot of fun here figuring out if any of this would work. Excellent. Before we do, Mitch Jaworski is the king of quotes. He ran the mentorship program for us last month and last 2 months, and he's going to be speaking at the 100 Millionaire Summit this year. He's going to be talking about how to evaluate these deals, how to make sense of real estate in this market, because he's one of my close friends who's still closing on real estate deals, still buying multifamilies in Massachusetts, in a state that everybody says it's impossible to invest in. He's literally investing in a state that's impossible, in a population that's impossible, and he's still making money. In fact, I think he just put $118,000 back into his bank account from a deal that he did following, by the way, one of the rules in Broke to a $250,000, which is do not buy a house next to a convenience store. Which he didn't. He didn't buy a house next to a convenience store. But what happened was the house next door decided to become a convenience store. And Mitch said, sell before it became a convenience store. Let's give Mitch Jaworski a round of applause. Mitch, what do you got for us? You got a rap quote? You got some sort of words of wisdom? You got an amazing shirt.
Get a rap quote out of me. Yes, the convenience store wasn't there when I bought it. It apparently got converted into one, which is still super random because it really doesn't make sense for the location. But anyway, it ended up working out. I didn't think about selling that property until that popped up, and it was a win in so many ways. So that capital actually was a catalyst to retiring my business partner. So like, that's the most awesome thing pretty much ever. But anyway, as far as rap quotes, I mean, all I'm thinking about is storytelling. And if you think about hip hop and you think about songs that tell a story, it's the ones that everyone knows. I mean, almost everybody, whether you're a hip hop fan or not, knows, like Biggie Smalls, everyone knows the line, "It was all a dream. I used to read," like he's telling a story about his life. He's talking about like being broke and hustling and, and for anyone that's a little bit, anyone that's over the age of 40 might know like the Slick Rick children's story. Like I bet Eric knows that one. Like everyone remembers that song. And what does he do? He tells a story. Like every hip hop song that tells a story generally are ones that are kind of mainstream, widestream. And this is why storytelling is so important. And they talk about storyboarding and storytelling, and any business you have, any initiative you have, any, venture you're, leading, you have to tell a story as part of, your mission, as part of that process, as part of whatever, your vision, your dream. There's a lyric that actually Mike Shine will know from Rush, and he says, a vision with a dream is a mission. And it's very true, because, you can have some kind of vision, but if it's not your dream, you're not going to be on a mission. So just take all those little things and put them to work. Like, be sure that you have passion for whatever it is you're doing, and be sure you tell that story, because that's what's going to engage people. That's what's going to get people to invest with you, right? That's what's going to get people to do deals with you. That feeling is contagious, that it gives you an aura, so to speak, and it's contagious, and it excites people and it connects you with them. So just tap into your story and be sure to share it.
Hell yeah. Let's give Michael Shine a big round of Miss Jaworski a big round of applause.
And Mike Shine.
And Mike Shine. And I love that shirt. The Alchemist Nation podcast is back. Mitch Jaworski is now taking it over for me. Him and Andrew have been interviewing some of our top alchemists who'll be speaking at the summit this year. So speakers, if you have not gotten the text, you will get a text to be on the podcast. And we're going to be talking about just what is the future for Alchemist Nation? What is the future for our community? Where are we going? How are we getting you there? It's very exciting. This next few years are an adventure. These next few years, well, I guess they're a story, but it's your story. You are the hero of this journey. You're the one writing each chapter. We're just kind of there reading the book with you, guiding you if there's a resource we can give you, but you are the chapter writer. You're the author of the book. And as an author, I can speak to this. The book kind of takes a mind of its own, but it is important that you get an idea of where you would like it to lead. As you're writing your book, just kind of vague ideas on the chapter on how you want this thing to lay out, how you'd like it to end, how, especially please focus on the middle part. When we write books, me and Jen have been writing books for hundreds, not dozens, hundreds. We've interviewed hundreds of authors, but we've written books for over a dozen authors. And when we start, we don't start at the end of the book. We don't start at the beginning of the book. We start in the middle. We ask them, what do you want the person, the reader, to get out of this book? What is the core thing they must get when they read this book? What is the core message, the principles, the education, the knowledge, the feeling, the emotion? What are those 6 steps? And we work on chapters 4 through 9 before we ever think about the end of the book, before we ever consider the first part of the book, how it starts, because we don't quite know. This journey will take a mind of its own. But we'll start with the middle, and then we decide on how we want it to end. We write the last 3 chapters of the book after we've mapped out the first 6. We don't write them all first and then the last 3. We map out all 12 before we get started in the book. We start with the middle 6, then we map out what the next 3 might be. The last 3 might be the hug, the high five, the hey, the empowerment. By the way, go back and use this in the chapter. And then we go and we write the first 3. And the first 3 are always very similar. The first 3 is why this book is important, why you should read it. We don't know that until we've written the last 9 chapters. Show of hands if you understand. Right? How can I sell what's in the book unless I know what's in the book? And then the next one is your empowerment, handling the belief systems that are going to be bullshit. Like, well, you read a new book, here are the things that might make you uncomfortable as you're going through this process. Here are the belief systems we got to tackle before you get in there. Before you read this, you need to handle these. So we talk about empowerment, and we get rid of mindset doesn't work. And then the third chapter is always goals. What are you going to get out of this book? Before you get into the meat and the potatoes of chapter 4, what do you intend to get out of this book? And we set goals with the reader. This way, when you start reading a book, you go through this kind of journey of, in first chapter, by the way, is also earn the right. Why is this author the person you should be learning from? What's in the book? And here's why this person is compelling enough, interesting enough to be the one to teach you. Here's what they've experienced. Here's what they've learned. And then we bring them into the journey that is your life. So as you're going through the next 20, 30, 40 years, do you have a plan of how that's going to work out? Have you written down kind of a framework, a guide of like what you'd like the core of your life to be like? Have you written out how you want it to end? And then start. That little planning part is just how you're going to get from here to there. It's setting your goals. It's empowering yourself, your belief systems, reminding yourself that you are the author, that you're capable of being the person who goes through this journey. Like those first 3 chapters, they only matter after you've committed to the life you want to live, the journey you want to live, the adventure you want to go on, and how you would like it to end. But we don't start with the end in mind. Well, I guess we do. We just don't write the end. And actually, let me go back and give you one more piece of information, because we do start with the end in mind. First thing I ask an author is, what are we selling? First thing, before we write a book, the first thing I ask the author is, what are we selling? What is this reader going to walk away with that you can monetize, that you can make some money from telling your story? Because if I can't tell a story that makes you money, I'm not going to charge you $15,000 or $25,000 to do this book. Show of hands if you understand. It doesn't make any sense if it doesn't make dollars for you. So we got to make sure that it makes sense. Your life has to make sense. If it doesn't make any sense, then you're not going to be happy living it. So what are you going to get when you get there? What is the whole point of all of it? And then it's about who you become on that journey, picking the steps, picking the path. I chose real estate because, I wanted to be able to change the planet on some level. And this is the real stuff, right? I know a lot of friends who went into other areas. They went into biology, they went into different things because they also want to change the stuff of the planet. I just chose, I'm not huge into blood. So I stayed away from the medical side of things. And I went into more of the tangible side of things. I'd considered food, but it seemed like it was pretty well handled. And real estate just looked like the closest thing to me that I could actually dent the universe with. So I went into it. Show of hands if you feel pretty confident about your ability with real estate. Every day getting a little better, right? Every day learning a little more tricks, more problems in the marketplace, adapting to them. So today may be a good day to write your story. Maybe a good day to write it down, just theorize those 12 chapters. Start with the core 6. And I think, Jen, do we have something free that we used to give authors? Do we have like a free guide?
We do. Let me go grab that link.
Cool. Let's give Jen a round of applause. So if you can drop that link here on Alchemist Nation and then on some of the live streams, I think that'd be very valuable. Who wants access to that? It's just a link that shows how we map out books, how we structure books for our authors. Very cool. Awesome. And it's, as I said, your life, your adventure, your journey. The goal is to come out of this badass. The goal is to come out of this somebody who impacts other people's lives in a really positive way. When they meet you, when they see you, before you even walk in the room, they should know that a champion just walked in, somebody who has the ability to improve their lives. An alchemist has entered the building. Somebody who has transformed themselves so that they can transform others, not just so that they can, but inevitably that they will. Walk around with that energy. Increase that in your mind that you are that person, and go and put it into the world unashamed that you actually care about the results for other people. Completely with no regard for whether somebody judges you for being so caring or so empathic. Why do you want to help so many people? That seems so fake. Hey, I'm sorry. That's just who I am. It's just what I chose, the path I chose to be one of those people who just gives and gives and gives. And yes, I choose to help people who will actually do something positive with it. That's also my choice. So fans, if you commit to do something really powerful with this story, excellent. In that case, let's give everybody in Alchemist Station who's behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, a big round of applause for all the work you do. We genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. Go ahead, Steven. I know you want to say something before we jump off.
Jen hasn't dropped the link yet. I think you could stall for just a little bit. I don't know if you can continue to give advice and great knowledge out there, but if you can, just a few more minutes. And actually, Juan just raised his hand to help you. I'm sure that's the only reason he did it. But
go ahead, Juan.
Well, actually, Walter, I want to tell Mitch that I feel like Jay-Z is coming to my event in September. I got a new TikTok dance. Mitch is coming. I've been like elevated. I've been like really so like, oh God, I'm so got panic attacks. Everybody can't figure it out. They think I got bad panic attacks. Be like, bro, Darina just freaking told me Mitch is freaking coming. Got everything set up for September. Got the cameras ready. Mitch coming.
Mitch Jorski's going on tour for Alchemist Nation. He'll be in Fort Lauderdale in September. Let's give Mitch a big round of applause, and Deborah for putting on such an awesome event. Very cool. Go ahead, Juan.
Hey everybody. It's interesting to see what everybody was doing when I saw the chat. And do we have a place in the program where we can see the people's name, telephone, but not only that, but what they dedicate to? Because that could help maybe network when you. I mean, the one I thought was gonna get you. I saw somebody was a joint pain, I think, management, and I thought that was pretty interesting, but it would be nice to have the network and what they do. That way, when we need somebody in that area, we can go there first, help each other.
I like that. We have in Alchemist Nation, when you go into the community tab, I'll share the screen really quick. When you go into the community tab itself, you can type on the left ambassadors. And when you jump in here, you can actually sort by what a person does. So real estate investor. And it will pull up anybody who is actively a real estate investor. Actually, you just got to untype courses. So look for members. There you go. So anybody who's put in real estate investor in anywhere in their title, see this here or in their description, it will show up. So if we were to look for attorney, same thing. All of our attorneys are in there. There's Michael Shine, Paula Miller. So Juan, yes. It's out there. Could it be better? Always. There's always. And do some people forget to put what their thing is in their description? Yes, also. So just a reminder, go back and update your profiles so that it says keywords that somebody might type, because Juan may be looking right now. So let's give each one of you a big round of applause. I love and appreciate your success. We're here to make sure that you can get to that next level. The link Jen dropped in the chat is her email address. So you can email Jennifer at jenspenbooks.com to get access to that PDF. And it's a really cool PDF. It's actually really pretty also, but it just shows the 12 steps, why we do what we do, so that you can map out your life. And so we're clear, we've only ever used this to write books, build courses, and help a person be interesting and tell a compelling story. We've never actually done it to create a life story. So you're going to have to put your own personal spin on that. Show fans, if you understand, it's your responsibility to write your story. Excellent. In that case, cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. I'll see you next week.